Back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. That has been in place for over 20 years. A lot of great projects have been funded by both the county and our wonderful municipal partners with that half-penny. To learn more about your half-penny and the projects, programs, and services it is paying for, please visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. You could also learn more about our organization. So as I've said, we have partnered with multiple county agencies on multiple projects, programs, and services. One of the most exciting projects that we have funded was the expansion of Metro Rail to Miami International Airport, to stop at the Miami Intermodal Center, of course. And so I'm so excited to have here today one of our key partners, the director of Miami International, I should say director and CEO. Let's get it correct. Of not only Miami International Airport, but the entire aviation department. Because correct. In addition to MIA, you also oversee 4 general aviation.
That's correct.
Which we'll talk about. So Ralph Cutié, Mr. Director, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Javier. It's great being here.
Thank you. So let's start there. Your job as Director of Aviation is to oversee what?
Well, I oversee basically the operations of all what we call the Miami Airport System, which is Miami International Airport. And as you mentioned, the 4 GA airports, Opa-locka in the north, Miami Executive, formerly known as Miami in the south, Homestead Executive Airport in the south. And also we have a training and technical airport, what we call TNT, which is what used to be called the Jetport out in the Everglades. So it's the overall Miami Airport System that falls under our purview.
And how long have you been the director?
It'll be 4 years in June.
4 years in June. Okay, congratulations. That 4 years as director of airport is like 40 years. Another
it's like dog years. It's a long time. Yeah.
But you're still smiling, and I know you're one of the most beloved people at the county. Everyone knows you. Everyone loves you, and that is in part because you have spent your entire career there. And in fact, I believe you started at the transit department. Tell us about your career at the county.
Well, I've been with the county now about 34 and a half years. I started in 1990 with what was then Miami-Dade Transit, which is now DDPW. And I started out as a scheduling engineer. I was a project control engineer on the, my first project out of the chute was the Metro Mover Extension Project.
Right. Vertical anomaly loops, right?
Correct. Yeah. I worked on those, and it was a very exciting time. There was a project that was finished $20 million under budget and on schedule, which is rare for county projects. And just got my teeth on transit for the first 16 years. Then I spent about 5.5 years with the Office of Capital Improvements, working on the county's general obligation bond program and on the county's miscellaneous construction contract programs. And then from there, we ended up being consolidated into what was the Internal Services Department, ISD. I was there a couple of years. And then the last 12 or 13 years with the Aviation Department. So I've progressively worked my way, up the county ranks, et cetera, to where I'm at now.
And your expertise, as I understand it, is really project management, kind of contract management, construction, basically getting things done.
Correct.
As efficiently and effectively as possible.
That's my background. Is basically my entire career with the county has been managing projects in engineering and construction, from the design phase all the way through the construction phase and the commissioning phase after. So that is my background. That, construction claims, project management, scheduling, that type of thing.
And so with everything going on at all of your airports, obviously that skill set comes in very handy, right? I mean,
sure, very much so.
It's a never-ending series of construction projects.
Yeah, I mean, we kid around that our airport is basically one big construction project where you happen to fly planes in and out of.
So obviously we're going to talk about MIA. So before we get there, let's talk about the other general aviation airports. I don't think people know as much about them or appreciate how important they are. So let's talk about some of those and why they're important to our local economy, to Miami-Dade County, and maybe some of the major highlights going on there.
Sure. Let's use Opa-locka as an example. Opa-locka Airport is, I believe, the second busiest GA airport in the entire nation after Teterboro when it comes to fuel sales. So we have a lot of our private traffic comes into Opa-locka, especially during our special events, things like Formula One, Art Basel, when we have Super Bowls, things of that nature. You have a lot of private traffic that flies into Opa-locka Airport because of the connectivity to, for example, the stadium and the beach, et cetera. So very successful over the last 10, 15 years. Opa-locka has been developed, but we have multiple fixed base operators, FBOs, that do very well there and really impact the economy positively, create a lot of jobs, et cetera. So I mean, it's not just MIA. All of our GA airports are very valuable. Down south, Miami Executive, also has a number of fixed base operators as well. We are currently expanding, and we have leases in place and leases that we are currently negotiating that we've already had approved to develop also Miami Executive, which again we still call that Miami at the airport, and that's going very well. So we, with Commissioner Robert Gonzalez's support, we're expanding that as well. So all of the GA airports feed into what we call the airport network, the airport system, and it's important because it's not just MIA. I mean, it's all of that private traffic, all of those MROs, maintenance repair operations, and FBOs in those airports contribute to the local economies. They create jobs. And, we're very proud that we are able to positively impact the economy in that way.
Yeah, and I have had a couple of experiences at Miami Executive. One, the one flight training course I took on a really tiny old Cessna.
Right.
And then I remember the training instructor handed me the controls and he said, land it. He's like, you haven't taught me how to land it. Are you crazy? I've never been so scared in my life.
You're braver than I am.
And he did land the plane. I refused to try. And then I also did parachuting. I forget what that's called at this point.
My daughter has done that
out of a flight there as well, and somehow survived that as well. So thank you for
Sure.
running a safe airport. My wife appreciates me coming home safely.
Sure.
But actually, what I'm really passionate about is MIA. And I say that not only because of how important it is to our local economy, right? I'm pretty sure the number one economic engine in Miami-Dade County, both because of the tourism, which we depend on, but then also, the cargo and the trade that is also key to our economy. But I will tell you, my dad spent his entire career living in Miami, working at the airport.
Wow.
He worked for Eastern before they went under. He worked for Pan Am.
Wow.
Before they went under. I think my dad is bad luck. And then he ended up working for United and transferring to Denver. But, I always had this fascination with the airport because my dad worked there.
Sure.
And so I had really great feelings about it. So let's talk about MIA. It's got a lot of great things going for it. Mm-hmm. It's ranks high across a number of categories. Show off some of those statistics for us.
Sure. So you mentioned we are the county's number one economic engine, maybe even the state's number one economic engine. So MIA represents a $118 billion economic impact and 700,000 plus jobs impact to the region, the county, and the state of Florida. 1 out of every 4 jobs in the county are somehow related to Miami International Airport. So that's a big economic impact. And we've had, over the last several years, very successful, and I'll share with you some of the numbers. I mean, we just completed our 3rd straight record-breaking year in passenger volume in our airport's history. So we had nearly 56 million passengers that we moved this past year. To give you an idea of context, we had, prior to the pandemic, almost 46 million was our best year in 2019. And over the last 3 years, we've had 50.7, 52.3, and 56 million this year. So 3 straight record-breaking years of passenger volume. That's incredible. We are the fastest growing airport in the metric of seat capacity, which the industry uses to predict future passenger volume. So that's great news on our end. So what does that translate to in rankings? So we're the 2nd busiest airport in the United States for international passengers. We're the 10th busiest airport in the United States for total overall passengers. Internationally, in those same categories, we're the 25th busiest airport for total passengers in the world and 33rd busiest airport for international passengers in the world. So again, I always kid around about this with the mayor because she likes to brag about that when she speaks in the public, and I give her a lot of credit because she's our biggest fan and our biggest supporter. But when she says we're one of the busiest airports in the world, she's spot on. We're one of the busiest airports in the world. And I can tell you just in flights, we no longer have a peak and non-peak. Now we're like peak and super peak because of the numbers we're putting up. So right now, during normal peak time, we're at about 1,100 flights almost a day. When it gets to the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we get into like 1,300 plus flights a day. That makes us, during those times and overall during the year, 9th busiest airfield in the entire United States, 12th busiest airfield in the entire world. So again, that's just based on number of flights, incoming and outgoing, passenger and cargo. So those are tremendous numbers, and that kind of yields to that economic impact. On the cargo side, we've had our 5th straight record-breaking year of cargo volume. We had just about 3 million tons that we handled this year. And what that translates to in rankings is, like you said, we're the number 1 airport in the U.S. for international freight, number 3 in the U.S. for total freight, and number 3 in the U.S. for total cargo, which is freight and mail. Those same categories internationally were number 6, 6, and 6. 6 international freight, 6 total freight, 6 total cargo. So both in passenger and cargo, I can say with a straight face that we are one of the busiest airports in the world and one of the premier airports in the world. So again, as somebody born and raised here, hometown person, kid that grew up here and grew up on Perimeter Road, parked, watching the planes take off, I take a lot of pride in that because our hometown airport is really putting up really haughty numbers, which we're very proud of. And I know our mayor's very proud of too.
And so on the cargo side, I mean, some of that, I guess, is just, going from one place to another and making, I suppose, a pit stop here. But a lot of that does end up here in Miami-Dade County. Yeah. Obviously, we're in this new age where, a lot of our goods are being shipped directly to our homes. That all starts at the airport.
Sure.
Some of it at the seaport as well. Who I know is, and you and the seaport director,
we're great friends.
Are great partners, right?
Great friends.
Because those two work in concert together. A lot of that stuff ends up in warehouses in Doral. We have one of the greatest warehouse infrastructure, certainly in the country, if not the world. So how does that kind of interplay work out? The goods land at the airport, and then what happens to them?
Once they land at the airport, I'll give you some examples. So little known fact, 91% of all the flowers that enter into the U.S. enter into MIA. I think it's 64% of all the fruits and vegetables and about 54% of all the fish. So when I say we have a local impact, it's not just a local impact, it's a local, regional, and national impact because all of those perishables, when they get here to MIA, they end up being trucked off our property. First, they may be stored. We have, I think, the biggest amount of square footage when it comes to cold storage of any airport in the country, 466,000 square feet worth of cold storage just on MIA property. So that puts us at an advantage when it comes to perishables. But that product will come in and then it'll be put on trucks, either stored in the cold storage or put on trucks right away and then shipped to wherever it has to go. So it's a national impact that we have with the amount of perishables that we bring in. So cargo is extremely, extremely important to us, and we're looking to continue to grow our cargo operation.
All right, now let's talk about passengers, and not just passengers. I think it's not always well understood or appreciated that you are probably the largest single employment center in Miami-Dade County. I mean, thousands of people work at the airport.
37,000.
37,000.
37,000.
Wow. So that's a lot of people moving to and from to get to the airport from their homes and vice versa. And then you add to that the visitors who are landing at your airport and going to hotels and destinations. So let's talk about how those folks move. Number one, they land at the airport and immediately you have the SkyTrain.
Yep.
Right, which is the train that allows you to travel down, I forget the
North Terminal,
Concourse
D.
And I know that there were some issues with the train in the past, but those have been resolved?
Those have been resolved, and I can just walk you through. Little known, we have actually 3 trains that operate.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
We have the North Terminal SkyTrain, which is about 1.1 miles, and that is strictly in Concourse D, which mainly American passengers use. And that the 3/4 of the train is back up and running. We had an issue with some cracks back in September of 2023. And I will tell you, and to me, it was one of our finest moments because this is why you do inspections and this is why you have professionals take a look at your systems and inspect them periodically. So our bond engineer performs periodic inspections of our system. They discovered cracks in the SkyTrain several years ago, and those cracks were monitored. And then in September of 23, the cracks were found to have become worse. That prompted a further, more in-depth structural analysis, which yielded that the train, that area of the SkyTrain, when the trains were running, was a little bit overstressed. So we shut it down. And we, in the interest of safety, not only for our customers, but for our employees, we shut it down. Within 6 months, we had the system back up and running, March 29th of last year. So it's going to be almost a year that it's been back in service, 3/4 of the system. So,
by the way, I don't think people appreciate it until they didn't have it, right?
Correct.
Because it is a long terminal.
Yeah, it's so North Terminal is 1.1 miles. The SkyTrain has only ever served 0.7 of that 1.1 miles. So really from gate D16 to gate D48.
Yeah.
So in last March, we got 3/4 of the system back up and running, and really the busiest section of the system up and running.
Good.
And we're currently working on the area of Station 1, which is in the area of D16. And we expect to have that one back up and running by this summer. So we're on schedule for that. But again, I thought at the end of the day, when you get a phone call that the system is overstressed, the decision is an easy one to make. The number one concern is public safety.
Absolutely.
And that's the decision that we made. And like I said, the first thought in my mind when I got the phone call was Surfside or the FIU bridge collapse.
Of course.
And definitely, the last thing I wanted was a 4-car set, a 4-car train with maybe 180 to 200 people on it coming on, having any kind of catastrophe like that. So to me, it was our proudest moment. We were able to avert a catastrophe, resolve the issue for 3/4 of the system within 6 months. I mean, I have structural engineers that I know that tell me they were surprised. They thought it would take 3 years, and we got it done in 6 months.
Incredible.
And we're going to have the last quarter of the system up by this summer. So that's moving along. So when somebody lands on a plane, on an American flight at Concourse D, typically some of them will walk the distance, but you can take the SkyTrain over to the exit, over to baggage claim, et cetera. And then from there, you can either go catch an Uber to head out, or, we have also public transportation. As you know, we have connectivity with Metrorail. Our Mia Mover connects to the rent-a-car center, et cetera. Very successful on that. We have 9 bus routes that serve the airport through our the MIC, the Miami Intermodal Center, including one route that goes to the beach, which I think has like a couple of thousand riders a day. So we have great connectivity both with DTPW and transit. Our train system connects with the rest of the terminal, and we get our passengers to where they have to go there. And then we also have 2 other trains, the Mia Mover, which connects the terminal to the MIC. Mm-hmm. And the rent-a-car center, currently it's out of service for maintenance, but we expect to have it up by next week. And then we also have the E-Satellite train, which connects the main terminal to our E-Satellite concourse out on the airfield. So, we have a lot of different transit options.
You're running a transit system yet again in your career.
You can't get away from it. Yeah.
And so one of the things, as I said earlier in the show, that we helped to fund was that Metrorail connection to the MIC, ultimately to the airport. And it's a great service. I don't know that enough people know about it or use it. Are you working with transit to promote that as a good way of getting people to and from the airport?
Yeah, we have messaging on our website that promotes it, and I think transit does as well, that promotes the line. I mean, it's the orange line. Those people that use it. I mean, if you live down south, you can take the green line and connect at the Arlington Heights station, and then from there get on the orange line to the Miami International Airport station, and then from there take the Mia Mover into the airport. So, I mean, I would encourage people to use that, especially now. I mean, anytime that we have big events, holidays, we put out messaging and ask the public, since, we are very limited on parking. We have a brand new parking garage, which we expect to come online, like I said, by the end of this year. That's going to add another 2,240 spaces. But in the meantime, right now, we're in the middle of spring break, and our garages are, starting to get close to capacity just because of the volume of people that come in and fly out of the airport. So anytime that we can get passengers to use alternate modes of transportation, whether it's bus, rail, Uber, Lyft, if they can get dropped off by friends at the airport, that helps with the congestion in our garages. But I mean, we're fully plugged in when it comes to transit options between Metrobus, Metrorail. That connectivity helps. I mean, like I said, we have more than 2,000 people that use we have out of the 9 routes, the Miami Beach Express route every day. So that means they're going from our airport to the beach on a bus, which I think is a success story.
So in addition to the SkyTrain, and thank you for getting that back up and running so quickly, I know there have been a lot of issues, and it's not just at MIA. It's also at every transit station and across the country. People are having a lot of issues with vertical conveyance systems, fancy words for elevators and escalators, right? There aren't a lot of players in that market. There's a lot of backlog. So there have been issues, but the airport has really tackled that and has made a lot of progress. So where are we with escalators and elevators? Sure.
I mean, that is a really, to me, a success story. And I'll give another shout out to the mayor because she was very supportive of adding additional resources. We have contracts in place now that total nearly $700 million just for elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. So to give you a little perspective, the county overall has about 1,200 conveyance units, what we refer to as conveyance units, which is elevators, escalators, and moving walkways in all of their facilities. 616 of them are at the airport. So more than half of all the county's conveyance units are at the airport. And I promise you, none of the other county's facilities take the same wear and tear than we do because we're a 24/7 operation with, as of last year, 56 million people coming through our facilities.
With heavy luggage.
Luggage, et cetera. So there's a lot of variables. So last year, at around this time and during the holidays, we were at about 85% operational and 15% units out of service. In just this last year, these past holidays, we were at over 95% operational and only 5% out of service. And the good news is that the 5% that were out of service is because they're either being modernized, which is the term of art in the industry for a replacement, or they're being undergoing a major repair, or they're undergoing a major maintenance cycle. So the 30 more or less, I get a daily report, which I read religiously at night, which tells me the number of units that are down every day. And I think yesterday we had 30 units down out of 616. I would love to have it at zero. It'll never be zero because units are always going to be worked on and being maintained, et cetera. But to have our units at 95% is very good. And to have that improvement of 10% over last year's out of service, I mean, that's a huge win. And again, we're making progress. I already see the traction. We're getting traction on it and the success. We've already, I think, modernized, which is another word, like I said, for replacement. 33 units have been modernized. We have another 4 or 5 that'll be coming online now. And the cadence we've established is 30 modernizations a year, along with all the major repairs and all the annual maintenance work that has to be done. So we've already seen a significant improvement. Our airlines, who are our biggest, the people that we have to make sure, them and our customers, they see it because they tell me they see it. They see the improvement, and we continue to get traction on it. So that's been a success. I can tell you it's a nationwide issue. Absolutely. Because I know other airport directors deal with it. When I travel to other airports, I see units down, et cetera. So it's not just something that's endemic to MIA. It's industry-wide. But as you said, we're tackling it head on. And again, with the mayor's support, we're making unprecedented investments in that specific touch point.
Not kicking the can down the road.
Nope.
Yeah. It's funny. Sometimes I ask my guests, what books are you reading? And they said, some novel or some self. You're reading conveyance reports at night. So.
I'm reading conveyance reports at night. Yeah.
Very important. So I don't think you ever really are off the job, right? This is a 24-hour, 7-day.
It's a 24/7 job. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the airport never sleeps.
The airport never sleeps. Yeah.
I mean, literally. Yeah.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, and that's it is what it is. I mean, we have operations going on all the time, and I'll get a call at 2 or 3 in the morning because something happened, and that just goes with the job. But the good thing is that, like I said, we are making progress, and we are not shying away from any of the complaints. Right. We are addressing each and every complaint head on. Whether it's bathroom renovations, elevators and escalators, loading bridge replacements, our capital improvement program. We have a focused plan that addresses each and every passenger touch point, and that is currently in progress. And the very ambitious, $7.5 billion capital improvement program.
Let's talk about that.
Sure. So we have right now what we call it's a $9 billion program, which is a combination of modernization and our capital improvement program. So I've already touched on some of the points. $1.7 billion of the $9 billion is what we call modernization, which is really deferred maintenance and things that we need to modernize. For example, all of our loading bridges. We have 126 loading bridges. We're replacing all of them, and starting with we've already completed 32. 2 of them are glass. And we've gotten such good feedback on the glass, we're going to go glass from now on. So we just issued an TP to a company which is going to do the next 10 bridges, all glass. So in the next 6-7 years, the plan is we're going to replace all our loading bridges. That is the first touch point a passenger sees when they get off an aircraft. Yeah. We have a very, very robust restroom renovation program. I know Glenn loves to kid around about this. We have 447 restrooms in the terminal. Jeez. So the first 206 are currently underway. Phase 1 of the renovation program is fully engaged. We've completed 48 of those are done. We have 10 under construction, 8 in permitting, and another 141 that are currently under design. So the first phase of the renovation program, totally underway. And then, as I mentioned, our conveyance program also underway. So within the $1.7 billion, you have $235 million for loading bridges, over $100 million for this first phase of bathrooms, and nearly $700 million for conveyances. We have a $166 million roof replacement program, which is going to replace about 430,000 square foot of roof, and will include solar panels in the roof. Wow. That will reduce our energy consumption, which is another big win.
And then we employ every roofer in the county. I mean, that's huge.
It's a huge project. It's right. That project is at about between 90 and 100% design. So we hope to start bidding that out at the end of later this year. Good. And we have a $547 million FPL. It's a tariff-based program with FPL that our board approved last year, which is going to replace all of our aged electrical infrastructure, backup generation systems, feeder cabling systems, switch gears, et cetera. So that's just $1.7 billion for modernization, and then we have the remaining of the $9 billion, $7.5 billion for capital improvements. So that is more than 200 projects, which will add concourses, expand concourses, modernize terminals, etc. Some examples: we have our South Terminal expansion, which we lovingly call Concourse K. That we're getting ready to take that to our board for award in May and have our groundbreaking in June. That's a $700 million project, which will add 6 domestic narrow body gates, 3 of which in the future will become international capable. It's going to include another 21,000 square feet of concession space, 13,000 square feet of lounge space, which is a big demand in the industry. So it'll be the first big terminal expansion in the last 15 years at the airport.
Do you know yet who's going to be serving that terminal?
No.
Which airlines?
No,
okay.
not yet.
To be determined.
That's to be determined. But that concourse will also be used as an empty chair, because once we've done that, we can move forward with other capital improvements, demolition of other terminals, move those airlines over so we can build those. So it's all being phased so we can not impact the operation. And that's really the biggest challenge that we have is running and maintaining one of the busiest airports right now in the world while implementing a $9 billion modernization and capital improvement program. And that's really the challenge.
I think Jose Abreu, when he was airport director, used to say it's like trying to change the tile in your shower while you're taking a shower, right?
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. That is one of my favorite quotes ever, and Jose and I are friends, and I kid around about it all the time. That's exactly what it's like. It's changing the tiles in your shower while you're taking a shower, because we got to continue to operate. We don't have the luxury. We're landlocked. We're on 3,300 acres. We don't have a lot of room to grow east or west, north or south. We got to work with what we have.
It's a very efficiently designed airport in that you use and maximize every bit of space.
Every inch.
This isn't Denver where you can sprawl out over acres, right?
No.
This is the land we have, and we have to make it work.
And we have to make it work. I mean, we would love to have 3,000 or 4,000 more acres. I would give it. I don't have to have that, but we don't. So we have to work around it. Another little bit of perspective. The Pentagon is the biggest office building in the world, 6 million square feet. We're 10 million square feet.
Wow.
8.5 million of that is air conditioned. The other 1.5 million is ramp space. So, and I promise you, the Pentagon doesn't have 56 million people coming through it every year. So again, that's the challenge, is to continue to do what we're doing and continue to modernize, continue to improve all those passenger touch points while we continue to operate and make sure that our airlines are taken care of.
It's truly a city within a city.
It is.
And so as a city, you even have a hotel. So I know that the hotel is also undergoing some major, I don't know if it's a renovation or complete replacement.
We have we have a brand new hotel, which our board approved. I think it was about a year ago. It's with a private developer. It's going to be a Westin hotel, 546 rooms. It's going to be on 1.8 acres of land directly across from the new parking garage that we're building right now.
Okay, so it's not where the current airport
No,
is. Okay.
No, the current airport hotel, we're keeping it for now.
Okay.
And it's been renovated. All the interiors have been redone, spruced up a little bit because it's at 90% occupancy. I mean, a lot of people use it.
Couldn't find a more convenient hotel if you're traveling, right? It's right there.
Yeah, it's right there in Concourse C. But the new hotel is going to be really a jewel because it's going to have 546 rooms, 26,000 square foot business and conference center, fitness center, spa, 4-star restaurant, really a state-of-the-art hotel, tremendous amenities. And the developer is a joint venture between Jeffrey Sofer, Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, and George Perez, the owner of Related Group. So these are all individuals
big names
that are very experienced in developing hotels and resorts and things of that nature. So that's their expertise. And we're excited about it because it will change the look. That, along with our new parking garage, will change the look of our upper drive. When people are coming up and entering the airport on Central Boulevard and coming up to our upper drive, it will totally change the look. It'll give us a real signature Miami look because you'll have a brand new parking garage to your left that will be clad under a separate contract in stainless steel with a very art in public places design, and a brand new a brand new hotel that'll have neon, etc. Very, aviation branded. It'll totally change the look of people coming in. And I think that helps, because right now when you come in Central Boulevard, it's not a lot that catches your eye. Yeah. This will be something that really, screams MIA.
Right. And so as if running this major city isn't enough, you've also been tasked with exploring this new technology called, I want to say eVTOL. Let me see if I get this right. Electric, vertical,
takeoff and landing.
Also known by some as urban air mobility.
Yep.
So that's really exciting. It's not as far out as maybe some people might think. And I know Miami in general wants to be kind of on the leading edge of this. And you've been kind of tasked with exploring this. So where are we with eVTOL?
Sure. So,
explain to people a little more about what exactly it is and what it takes in terms of infrastructure and where are we?
These are vehicles that carry anywhere from 5 to 7 passengers that can also carry light amounts of cargo. And they're electrically powered, so they're very good for the environment. Depending on the design, there's 9 or 10 different manufacturers, all with each individual designs. But each aircraft has X number of engines, or some have 14, 10, whatever. And what they do is they can take off vertically and land vertically in a very small area.
It's like a large drone.
Correct.
Right.
That's a very good analogy. It's like a large drone, and there's two models. There's an urban air mobility model, which is within a city, and there's a regional mobility model, which can take you from city to city. So, for example, on the regional model, you could go from Naples to Miami, West Palm Beach to Miami, Key West to Miami, etc. And you beat the traffic getting to where you have to go. And the way these things work, they're very energy efficient, and they can get you to where you want to go faster than you have to go on the streets. And it would also help take traffic off the street and reduce congestion. So it is the wave of the future. It's a very exciting technology. We're totally on board with it, and we very much support it. So we've identified a couple of sites at the airport, one right near the MIC, which potential sites for a vertiport. A vertiport is essentially where these vehicles would land and then recharge.
Okay.
And there would be the charging areas would be all open source, universal, so you can have multiple different vendors or technologies use them. And we want to be on the cutting edge, and I know the mayor's very excited about it because she's all about innovation. She's we kid around with her. She's like our innovator in chief, so she's on board with it. So what we've done is we've been in active conversations with all these vendors for the last several years. We are a very integral part of the task force. Back in 2021. Then Chairman Gilbert and our mayor set up an urban air mobility task force. So we have consultants, the state has consultants that are studying this, and we have periodic meetings every couple of months. My immediate boss, Chief Jimmy Morales, he heads up that task force, and we kind of go over where they are right now. The next step in this is they need to get FAA approval in order for you to move passengers in these vehicles. You need to have approval from the FAA. So the FAA has, a pretty lengthy approval process. I mean, obviously safety is paramount, so that has to be taken into account. But you can also use these vehicles for cargo as well. So again, like you said, we want to be on the cutting edge always of that kind of technology, and that's the way with the future. People, I'm going to date myself. People my age call it like the Jetsons. You can just get in and go, which is very cool if you can beat traffic. I mean, imagine if you could land at MIA, and if you have to get to Key West, instead of driving, you can get in one of these things and you're there in half an hour, 45 minutes, as opposed to having to drive the 3 hours. So there's a lot of advantages to it. It's a cool technology. It's a clean technology, and we want to be really right there on the cutting edge of it.
And it's going to happen, right? It's
going to happen.
Best guess, I hate to put you on the spot, when do you think this might actually launch?
That's a good question.
Are we talking 5, 10, 20 years?
I mean, to me, it all hinges on how quickly they can get the FAA approval to do it. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to guess, but I would say probably, a couple of years.
Really?
Maybe.
That soon?
Yeah, because, again, you have to get through the FAA approval. And then at that point, the next step is you have to identify vertiport sites throughout the county, because it's not just where they take off from. They got to land somewhere. I mean, these things are not going to be landing on the street.
Sure.
They have to land at a vertiport. So as an example, let's say if you were to have one at one of our sites at MIA, you could take it if you were to retro-engineer a landing site or a vertiport at the Miami Beach Convention Center, as an example. You could land on the roof of the convention center,
right?
And then from there, have that very quick connectivity to the beach for those that don't want to be stuck in traffic on the 836 to get there. So, I would say it's probably a few years away. I think some of the manufacturers are saying it may be sooner, but what we want to be, as an airport, we want to be positioned to be right there, kind of on the ground floor of it, so that when it takes off, no pun intended, that we're right there, along with them.
So that's amazing. So the technology is basically ready. They just need to get the permitting and then the infrastructure.
Yeah, a lot of the things are designed, and if you look at videos of them, they're extremely cool how they work, and ultimately, for now, they're gonna have a pilot, somebody to fly it. But ultimately, they're talking about them being autonomous.
Yes.
So there would be between AI and other technology, there would be basically like self-driving cars. You would have these things flying around. And I think one of the biggest things that they need to work out with the FAA is concept of operations, what they call ConOps, which is, these things only fly at about 1,500 feet, but our aircraft cross that threshold when they take off and land. So you have to work out how these things work with our aircraft.
Not to mention helicopters, drones that people are flying out there.
Sure.
We've seen a lot of issues with the drones in the Northeast.
Yeah.
A lot of conspiracy theories too.
Sure.
What's that?
And if you look at what happened in D.C., obviously that tragedy, you want to make sure that you avoid any type of situation like that happening, which is why you have to really focus on the concept of operations.
Absolutely. So very excited about eVTOL. Any other kind of emerging technologies that kind of you're working towards or exploring
Sure.
to make the airport even more efficient and help people get around?
Sure. One of the things that we're exploring and we're taking a lead on is sustainable fuels. So the airlines, especially American, is really focusing on that. We just recently at our airport, DHL and World Fuels entered into an agreement. So I think we became the first airport in the state, and I think first in the state or second in the state to have sustainable fuels. So we are currently, for the next couple of years, we're going to be DHL and World Fuels will be using sustainable fuels. So that was something that was a pretty proud moment because we're taking the lead on an up and coming fuel technology, which the rest of the industry is pursuing, and we've taken that first step already. So that's one area that we're really taking a lead on. We're also taking a lead on when it comes to energy conservation. Over the last probably 10 years, we have had tremendous success working with FPL Services on energy conservation contracts. The contract that we currently have under our modernization program, which is the $547 million tariff-based program I mentioned, is going to replace a lot of our infrastructure with the latest net zero technology, et cetera. So that's something we're excited about. It's going to make our airport more energy efficient, which is great, but also really harden our infrastructure to avoid having any power outages. I mean, anybody will tell you power outages and airports is a bad mix. So anytime we lose power, that means it's a major impact, not only to our airlines, customers, everything. So we want to make sure that our infrastructure is hardened. And that's why that program is so important, not only from the energy efficiency perspective, but from the resilience perspective as well.
I can only imagine the size of the emergency generators you have at the airport.
They are probably the size of your house. When I mention generators,
right?
People think it's like something you hook up to your house. No, they're huge.
So let's end on something fun. We only have a few more minutes. You mentioned major events, and we have an enormous event coming to Miami in the near future, the World Cup.
Yep.
And it's such a proud moment for our community.
Very.
But also it's going to tax our infrastructure. And so all these folks are going to come in, presumably, through the airport.
Yep.
I imagine that the airport, together with the other county agencies and other partners, are working on some kind of plan to help move those people. What's going on with FIFA and the World Cup?
Sure. So we are very much engaged with the FIFA folks. Alina Hudak, who used to work with the county, is a dear friend.
Person.
She is right now the president of the FIFA here, and she's handling that for them. And we are totally engaged with her team. As a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, our team had a meeting at the Biltmore with the FIFA folks, and we got high praise. We were recognized for how well prepared we are. So we have multiple meetings a week on FIFA. So we're way ahead of the June 2026 date compared to other airports around the country. What we're expecting is anywhere from 700 to 800,000 more passengers during that time. That in itself is not something that we're not familiar with. As an example, last Thanksgiving, we had an additional 1.9 million passengers during a 1 week period or 8 day period.
Everyone visiting their family.
Exactly. During the Christmas holidays, we had a 3.1 million uptick in passengers.
Gosh.
So, and that was during a 10-day period. The FIFA uptake is going to be 700,000 to 800,000 additional passengers within a 2 week period spread out. Right. So, I mean, it's not something that we haven't dealt with before. We've had special events during F1, Art Basel, the Super Bowl. We do have.
We're a big event town. We know how to do this.
We know how to do this from the airport perspective, and we're very good prep meetings so far, and we continue to have multiple meetings. We had one yesterday. So every week we meet with the FIFA folks, and like I said, we have gotten very good feedback from them as far as how well prepared we are. We'll be working with Customs and Border Protection with CBP on lanes so that the people that come in will be able to get through their lanes. We're going to have our own terminal operations staff guiding people through the terminal so they can get to where they have to go quickly. So we've already taken steps and along the way planning for this so that we're ready in June of 2026. It's going to be a huge event. I mean, it's a very proud moment. I know that locally here, the mayor and others worked very hard on bringing FIFA here, and I know you have to submit an application. And I think it's a great day. We're going to, host 7 games, including, a runner-up game and a quarterfinal game, which is great. And it's going to be a very great economic impact also to the community as well during that time.
In a moment of pride, right?
Yes.
I mean, this city has really grown up into a world-class city, and we wouldn't be landing the World Cup if we weren't there.
Yep.
And a big reason for that is this amazing airport, right? So another thing to be proud of. But I have to ask, okay, so like me, you're a Cuban with a French last name.
Correct.
But you were telling me earlier you also have some Spanish and Italian heritage.
Yep.
So World Cup, who are you rooting for?
It's funny because I work
And an American to boot, by the way.
I work with a lot of soccer fans. I'm really an NFL and college football
Same here.
fan. But I would say if I had to pull, I would pull for FC Barcelona.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
because I have friends of mine that like that team and like them a lot. So I would probably pull for them. But I mean, if I will watch the games. My son, my youngest, is a huge soccer fan.
Right.
So I'll probably watch some of the games with him just to spend time with him. But I mean, I just think it's great to have the event here.
Absolutely.
No matter who wins.
Absolutely. It's
I
gonna be
know
exciting.
it's going to be an exciting time. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Director and CEO, I want to thank you not only for appearing on the program, but for everything you do, for your
Sure.
career of
Thank
public
you.
service, for taking on those very difficult challenges at the airport head on and making great, rapid progress, right?
Thank you.
I know it
Thanks,
isn't
Javier.
easy. So any parting words you want to leave, anything you would
Sure.
like to tell
What I'd like
our
to tell
audience?
everybody is that, take pride in your airport. We are working very hard, and the call to action is join us. The airport's going to be, our airport, our hometown airport is going to be transformed over the next 5, 10, 15 years. It'll be unrecognizable. And we already see those things happening, and everybody's working very hard to make that happen. So what I would say is, join our team, advocate for us, because you have a team that's working very hard. And you're going to see the difference. We already see the difference. And over the next 5, 10, 15 years, you're really going to see our airport transformed into a world-class airport.
Fantastic. And I know it's in very good hands with you and your team. So
Thank you so much.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thank you, Javier.
Folks, that's all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. As you can see, we have great guests, so please continue to join us here every other Thursday. I think we're moving our time slot from 9 to 10 now to 9:30, 10:30, so half an hour later, but that'll give you a chance for a second round of coffee. Again, if you're interested in learning more about us, please visit our website, miamidade.gov/CITT. We do have several vacancies on the Independent Transportation Trust. So if you're interested in becoming a trust member, please, you'll find an application online. Please apply. We'd also like to thank our partners here at Miami's Community Newspapers for continuing to host and produce this program. Couldn't do it without them. With that, please have a wonderful day.